Happy patch notes! For today's turkey trial event, they're doing a massive load of fixes to bugs that have been driving us wild for weeks. Hello everybody, my name's Kiah and welcome to a very quick and dirty patch notes video. I was about to go to bed and then I saw this was coming and I was like, you know what? We gotta do a video on it. So if you could stick around, please subscribe to the channel, it really helps. And let's get into the juicy patch notes. There are so many here today, lots and lots of information. Not only this came out, they also released their video for Acer cross-platform mod spotlight, which they'll be doing weekly by the looks of it. So you'll be seeing weekly updates about different mods and stuff. Maybe we can try out a few in the future to give a more in-depth idea. A lot of really good stuff here though, but let's have a look closer at these big patch notes. A couple of my favorite ones that have been bugging me for a very long time is fixed death marker not appearing if the player died while logged off. This is huge because it's been such an issue finding bags and stuff. There's also another one on this. They said fixed various map issues. The current death cache icon no longer hides when a player goes nearby, making it easier to find your actual death cache. They've also fixed an issue causing some dinos attacks to appear jittery on servers. Now this has been a huge problem for me, especially when trying to take on the bosses and the dinos appear to be not really hitting the boss at all or trying to attack it. It's definitely, hopefully going to help with that issue. It's the same with fixed flyer landing jitter, and they also stop the problem of when you land your flyer and you hold out your spyglass, it's not going to jerk forward or creep forward even if you're on like a flyer. That's all fixed up now, which is beautiful. This one to be very wary of, Fileco Leo AI now correctly jumps from trees more consistently. If you've noticed, Thylers do not jump off of trees properly, they just go "Rrr" at you on the tree, they don't move. So now they're going to jump at you, you're going to have to be very careful of that. Fixed Ichthyornis hunt and retrieve ability sometimes not working, which is essential when trying to get your golden eggs and all that, especially when you're trying to pair it with the Hesperornis. Fixed Basilosaurus attack sometimes not registering when the server is under stress. Another huge one that's going to help a lot with fighting through the caves. Although something I didn't quite notice in here or have not found is anything addressing the overspawns that can happen in caves. As I do know on multiplayer servers, overspawns are very prominent, especially when you're going in the caves like the Brute Cave and all that. I also didn't realise or see any fixes in here for when you go on single player and you're missing loot caches and all that. I've heard the artifact of the Brute Cave is quite criminal for this when it comes to single player, not giving loot caches. Another essential and really nice fix in here is fixed Tuso, being able to instantly delete players and dinos through the world barrier. Lovely, love that. That was even a problem for me in Ace still, so the fact they fixed it in Acer is brilliant. They also fixed an inconsistency with harvesting tiny creatures. This was especially noticeable with penguins. And speaking on that, fixed Pelagonus missing its 80% weight reduction to organic polymer. Also fixed player stamina sometimes draining when riding a dino underwater. Something huge in here as well, fixed some resources not stacking when using custom resource stacking. I've had a big issue with mutton and trying to get that to stack and work. Hopefully that's gonna fix that because, you know, I like that kind of thing. I like the stacks, so that's really nice. Fix some dinos harvesting inconsistently when a server is under stress. And I must say the number of Rhyniognatha fixes in here alone are a lot. There's been a lot of repairs to the Rhyniognatha, including fixes of movement on ceilings, held objects to sometimes visually increase in size, not being able to pick up objects if they were placed using snapped placement mode, and being unable to place an object back down in single player. There's also a fix for the Rhino of picking up enemy creatures on PvE with allow flyer carry true enabled on servers. there's been quite a few repairs to the Rhino. And now let's just go through some of the generalistic patch notes that you guys can listen to so you don't have to read any of this. Fixed various issues with tech force field. Fixed being unable to place doors in doorways when building in an open vacuum compartment. Fixed tech force field fuel consumption rates. Fixed unconscious players visually sinking through ceilings and floors. This also goes hand in hand with a few other issues of fixed flickering on unconscious players that are based on dinos, and fixed unconscious players being teleported into boss fights. They've also adjusted Woolly Rhino's socket that poop and babies spawn outside of the radio. Never would I thought poop socket would be a word, but hey, it is. But either way, baby's gonna spawn outside, poop's not gonna come out the belly. Prevented boss teleporting aquatic only dinos with the tech transmitter. Fixed being unable to dismount with E if you've recently been hit with a crowd control buff. And now Basilosaurus babies cannot generate oil in their inventory or when they're dead. Tech binoculars can now be placed in tech dedicated storage. And Battle Tartar now correctly increases melee damage. Arthroplorus no longer get wild levels into oxygen as it does not use it. And they fixed some aspects of the chest, of the tech chest not working correctly on servers under stress. They also fixed a drop in altitude when hovering when using the tech chest, and there was an issue with using the tech legs, it would break your own structures. They fixed an issue with crops being grown in crop plots going invisible in single player after relogging, and some issues with the industrial grinder sorting its engrams like they were items. It also now uses remote and wireless crafting if you were having issues with that. And turrets now respect the count of turrets in range regardless of the tribe. They've also fixed resolution scale settings, sometimes not saving, plant species X sometimes not growing correctly on rafts when the server restarts, and a problem with smaller player models hovering on rafts when they were mounted to them. Also, sometimes with rafts getting pushed underneath the raft when dismounting it, that has been fixed, and elevator platforms sometimes sinking under the mesh or structure and getting stuck, meaning that you cannot use the elevators. That should be repaired now. They also fixed several fuel consuming structures to sometimes stop consuming fuel after a server reset. And grass should no longer stick through players' ceiling structures. They've also added a better indicator for placing secret doors to avoid building with them accidentally, which is something apparently I didn't notice, which is actually really quite funny. They've also fixed the Procoptodon getting stuck on babies removed from its pouch, which is really handy because you're going to want to use the Procoptodon for babies in general. It's going to help with imprint and all that. And they also fixed eggs sinking into the floor upon server restart. Big problem I had. Glad that that has been fixed. They've also fixed rafts sometimes rubber banding when a dino is in close proximity to the driver. And they've fixed being able to place doors that are clipping into the terrain. Fixed colour placement for large wall being backwards, and they've allowed placement of walls on the side of foundations and allowed placement of pillars on fence supports. They fixed a camera-related issue to relogging on a bed on the server as well, and transferring all on a tech-dedicated storage now ignores players' weight capacity. They fixed an issue with teleporting large dinos with a small tech teleporter in order to mitigate some meshing opportunities, so that will not be a thing anymore. And they fixed the tech teleporter getting an inventory rank from tribe placement settings. They've also, really big one for me because it's very annoying, increased max water amount of the industrial cooking pot to 10k. So the now max craftable quantity is 100 instead of 10. They also added an option to the industrial cooking pot and the cooking pot in general to set a specific item class to auto-craft to when auto-crafting is enabled, which is all really amazing. They've also adjusted the single-player default fuel consumption rates to easy from 0.25 to 4, and medium is 0.5 to 2, and hard stays at 1. Fix quick body drag with the G keybind, and fix the fishing UI timer counting down incorrectly. Toilets will now require fresh poop to spoil containing raw meat, so you can't use that old stinky poop anymore. Tech and heavy turrets can now be placed on rafts and platform saddles when override structure platform prevention is set to true. This is false on official. And the Procroptodon's drag weight has been reduced to 180. They fixed the car char not stripping gigahertz, so you'll be able to get the gigahertz out of car chars now to help with your bus runs. Fix levels sometimes not loading correctly when relogging inside of caves. And fix players being able to shoot underwater with tech chest piece and weapons that are usually disabled underwater, which is insane. They also fixed the torch placement on the belt not scaring away Trudons, and they also fixed the mouse sometimes getting stuck with multi-use menus. They've also fixed wild Tusos dropping aggro frequently, and the radial wheel icons not always lining up with the various screen resolutions. They've adjusted the look of tech engrams so they could be more easily read, and the cellar door HP has been reduced to match the other similar door sizes. They've also fixed some issues with the paint window, so that's going to help with painting your stuff and your dinos and whatever else. And they fixed an issue that could cause dinos to fall into the mesh when transitioning from water to land, which was seen a lot when you went in the hard ice cave and brought dinosaurs into there. Fixed placing floating foundations using a raft, and fixed characters not spawning on one of the icebergs. And that is pretty much it. Partly adjusted the default imprint timers in single player. But that is pretty much it. That is a lot of patch notes, and I hope you've enjoyed them being read out to you so you don't have to read them. I've read them for you. There you go. Enjoy. I'm gonna now go to bed. It's very late here. Thank you for watching. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.